Now we're going to talk about what I feel is the most fun part of the ergometer, which is the actual training, which is the workouts we do and how we use these to help our athletes become stronger, powerful, and more injury-resistant type of athletes. Two basic ways that we use the erg is for supplemental work, which is where an athlete is already doing a fair amount of swimming in the pool, and we're using the ergometer to supplement their strength and power-based training. The second way it's typically used is as a swim replacement for an athlete that can't get to the pool or wants to do a lot of their swimming from home because it's more time efficient for them. So in the supplementary role, really what we want to do is we're going to use shorter quality workouts, which can range anywhere from 500 to say 1,000 meters, where we're going to keep short quality efforts. This is where the ergometer becomes very valuable in using the monitor. By using the stroke function and the power function, we can make sure our athlete is getting stronger and faster. The workouts don't need to change much, so we can keep the same type of workouts, as an example, 6 or 8 by 50 meters with a constant rest, and we can work on increasing the sustainable power output. So the two ways that we work on lifting the power is, one, increasing the resistance by changing the door or the damper door on the erg, and the second one is increasing stroke rate. And by working with these two variables back and forth, we can actually find where our swimmer is most optimally powerful. And then once we have that, is really working on maintaining fatigue resistance, or the ability to hold a given power for a longer span of time.
Now, as Tim mentioned, the other way that we can use the ergometer in a training progression over time, besides short power-based workouts, is to actually use the ergometer as a swim workout replacement. And I've worked with all types of athletes who have the ergometer, and the structure of those sessions pretty much is the same. But there is one consistent theme which runs throughout the entire training process, which is that form always comes before function. In other words, we're always focusing on maintaining good quality technique. We're watching for where the technique begins to fall off. And we always want to develop good quality, sustainable power over shorter distances and then extend that over time. You can actually structure workouts very similarly to how you would put a workout together in the pool. So you might start out with a 100 or 200 meter warm-up with door at 1, and then progress into some of the drill sequences that we talked about earlier with Carlin, where you might be doing single arm or catch up or integrating some other strokes. So you're building into your workout as you go. Once you get into the main set of the workout, it really depends on the level of athlete and the type of competition or racing that that athlete may be doing. And one of the things that I really like using the erg for is to look at an athlete and look at how they swim in the pool, and then figure out how I can change or tweak the ergometer workouts to develop some aspect of their swimming in the pool. Maybe I feel like they need to apply more pressure more quickly, increase their stroke rate. So we'll work on main sets that have them keying in on their stroke rate, whatever it may be. Conversely, we may find an athlete that gets on the ergometer and just can't develop a lot of force. So we're going to really work on, sets that are constructed around higher power, always making sure that they maintain good quality technique. The value in this tool is that you're not having to think about other things in the pool, whether it be breathing, the conditions in the water, other swimmers, and all the other things that come with a normal swim workout. You can really focus on developing power, sustaining power, and because of the feedback that you get from the monitor and the feel that you get from the ergometer, you're able to objectively look at that along with your coach and say, I'm getting better.
Al brings up a great point. In the pool, we pretty much have the pace clock, and that's our only variable that we're using. Here, by using stroke rate and the power output, our workouts can be set based upon those parameters. Give you some examples. One of the things we like to do with race simulation is simulate the beginning of a race. We may use a 400 or 500 meter set, of which case we do the first 100 meters flat out, just like they would in the race. We can look at the power and then have them settle into race pace. By looking at that, we got to get an idea of, okay, this athlete can do this, or we need to work on these aspects of swimming. With ITU athletes, we often have a very variation of speeds within the race. They start fast, there's accelerations around buoys. With a 2-lap course, you got to accelerate on the second lap. So we actually do a lot of over-unders, basically same thing, using our power. So we set a certain power level just below threshold. We do that for a certain set distance or time, and then go above it. So we may do a 500, 600 meter set where it's continuous, where we're going a little bit below, a little bit above, and it's all based on the power. So if an athlete's power drops, we have them rest, and they come back in at that power. So our power, sustainable power, stays the same. And this is very motivating because we can really see big shifts in their sustainable power and their performance in a very short period of time.
One other way that we can use the ergometer, if you're a triathlete, especially in the off season or in the wintertime where getting to a pool is a little bit more difficult, is to actually use it as part of transition workouts. So if you've got your indoor bike trainer at home or in your basement, you've got your ergometer, you can now really practice swim to bike and making that transition. We all know if you're a cyclist or a triathlete that sometimes indoor bike sessions can become tedious and boring. So now we can break those sessions up and really train upper body fatigue in a swimming specific way, get on the bike and then go back to the ergometer again. And if you've got a treadmill, you've got a built-in way to train all three sports seamlessly one to the next. And I think this is an important aspect for triathletes because too many train the sport or one of those sports in isolation without really thinking about swim to bike or bike to run. And of those two transitions, bike to run is the one that's more frequently trained. I find that when your body is horizontal in the swim and then you go to vertical on the bike, that there's a little bit of a disorientation that happens with that. And the athletes that I coach that practice that swim to bike transition with their ergometer to the bike trainer, or even in racing season, you can still use your erg if you don't have access to the open water before your longer bike workouts. For the Ironman athletes I coach, this is one of the most important things that they do. They're going out for 3 to 4 to 5 hours on their bike. I'll always have them do anywhere from 500 to 1,000 meters, just enough to create upper body fatigue, get them feeling like they've swum, and then off they go on their bike. So training transition workouts, utilizing the erg in that way, again, whether it be short power-based or sustainable time trial, muscular endurance type workouts, very, very important and powerful way that the erg can be used.
Not only that, we also use the erg in a lot of other ways that we integrate other aspects of training. So some of the ways we can use erg intervals, and then in between those active rest periods, we can throw in other stuff. Core work, shoulder prehab training, and there's my favorite, which is the housework one. Whereas I do a 200, 300 interval and then load the dishwasher, or do another 200, 300, vacuum the floor. So this is very popular with my wife. But there's a lot of ways that we can train using the erg, and it's really infinite.